Today, we are going to be doing some EFT tapping. So since this is the introduction to what tapping is, EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, is also known as tapping. So if you've ever seen anyone tapping on their chest, this is tapping. And what it does is it reprograms the mind by creating new phrases, new possibilities, releasing old beliefs, old ways of being, stuck things in the mind, while also releasing the stuck emotions stored in the body. And so it uses the energy meridians that have been used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years. And so similar to acupuncture, where you put a needle to stimulate a point, we're going to be tapping on the point. So instead of using acupuncture, we're using acupressure. So essentially, it can be really, really, really effective. In fact, sometimes more effective than acupuncture for me personally, because you're actually working with the mind and the physical body in addition to the meridians. So it creates more permanent, long-lasting change. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to be guiding you through the points, and just to give you a super quick overview, I'm going to go through them really quickly just so you're not confused as we tap through. So you'll be tapping at the tip of the eyebrows, right at the bridge of the nose, the temples next to the eyes. Make sure you keep breathing as you do this. Tapping the cheeks, it's in line with your pupil. Tapping under the nose, and the chin, and that nice little divot on your chin. Tapping all over the chest, so you can almost think of it like making a huge heart shape, tapping all the way down to the sternum, and getting underneath the collarbones over here, tapping just all over the chest. So the beautiful thing about the body is we are covered in these magic spots, these meridian points, where essentially you can tap most places on the body and you will find a meridian. So for example, the ears have so many meridian points all over it. So if you ever study an ear diagram, it's really, really cool. There's a lot. Okay, so you're tapping the chest. So next point is the front of the rib, so where it juts out, the little bone there. And make sure you keep breathing. So you might notice that energy is starting to release, that things are starting to move inside of you. That is completely normal. So if you notice yourself needing to yawn, maybe you're needing to breathe a little more deeply, to sigh, maybe you're burping, maybe you have tingly sensations in your body, maybe you're noticing emotions coming up. This is all completely normal. This is a sign that things are starting to move within you to be released. Okay, next point. Side seam of the body. So following basically the nipple all the way down to where your armpit is, and you're tapping on the side seam of the body. You can cross over like this, or you can tap like a monkey, whichever is more comfortable for you. Tapping the inside of the wrist. So this is where it bends. You want to tap horizontally so that you're getting all of the meridians. There are actually 3 that go through here. Holding your hand like you're karate chopping, tapping the side of the thumb. This is actually next to the nail, so the point is actually that we're aiming for is right here. If you use all your fingers, you're bound to get that point. So, still tapping alongside the nail, tapping the index finger. Tapping the middle finger, also next to the nail. The underside of the ring finger. And this is the only side that's different. So then we're going back up to the top side of the pinky again. And then tapping the side of the hand on the nice fleshy part. Tapping all over the head. Okay. So those are the tapping points. So go ahead and get comfortable. Make sure you have water, that you have tissues if you need them. You may be surprised. I would grab them just in case. Get into comfortable clothing if you're not already. And this will be anywhere from, actually we'll see how long it is, but this will probably be close to an hour long. So make sure that you're comfortable, that you have hydration, water, and that you're in a space that will be undisturbed for the next hour. Okay. So dropping down from the collarbones, start to feel on your chest for a sore spot. And the way that you'll find the sore spot is just by poking around and be like, that feels a little more sensitive than the other parts of my chest. So keep feeling around until you find some sore spots. I like to massage them with my thumbs. You're welcome to massage it however feels good for you. So starting to massage those points, and if you're like, I don't know what she's talking about, go ahead and just choose a spot and start massaging it. Okay. Taking a big deep breath. And so we're going to be tapping on emotions today. And when it comes to emotions, there tends to be a lot of stories that my emotions weren't allowed, that I was allowed to be sad but not angry, or the other way around, that I shouldn't feel emotions, that I should just be a big boy or a big girl and get it together. Even though, repeating after me, even though emotions have been difficult for me, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Taking a breath, tapping the eyebrows. Emotions have been a tricky topic for me. Tapping the temples. Emotions have been tricky for me in my life. Tapping the cheeks. For just a moment, what is your relationship with your emotions? Are you allowed to have them? Are you afraid of your emotions? Are you afraid that you'll never be able to stop feeling your emotions? Tapping under the nose. Are your emotions explosive? Do you repress them? Tapping the chin. Is there a part of you that thinks maybe you don't have them? Whatever your story is, let's go ahead and tap on that today. So that's going to be your setup statement. So that's going to be the statement that you're going to be repeating throughout this. So go ahead and choose what that story is that you have around emotions. Maybe you're afraid of your emotions. You don't feel safe to feel your emotions. Maybe you feel ashamed of your emotions. Maybe you don't trust your emotions. Whatever that is. Tap in the chest. And go ahead and say that statement a couple times. We're going to say it 3 times. So saying it out loud, taking a big deep breath when you're complete. And again, even though there's a part of me that believes, and say it again. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the front of the ribs. Another big deep breath. I have this story around emotions that, and go ahead and say it again. It feels really true. And check within yourself, tapping the sides of the ribs. Check within yourself, how true does this feel in your body? So whether you know it's true or not, from a mental perspective, what does it feel like? So if you were to say that your statement is, I'm afraid of my emotions. On a scale of 0 to 10, how intense does that feel? Is it like, wow, like I am beyond terrified of my emotions. Like I don't even want to go in there. I'm a full no. That might be a 10. Or 0 is like, what fear? I don't even have fear. I feel really confident about it. Like emotions are my best friend. Tapping the inside of the wrist. And if you're at a place where you're like, I don't feel any fear, you might actually be past a 10. At some point, generally the body will numb out if something is too intense. So if you're like, I'm completely numb, it might be over 10. Okay. So noting what you're at in terms of the number. And saying that statement again. There's a part of me that believes, and say that statement. Tapping the side of the thumb. And it feels like a and say the number. And it's possible that's okay. This has been with me for a long time. And think back to the first time that you ever felt this way, that you took on this belief. So when you were like, this is true, how old were you? Tapping the index finger. I learned this when I was, and say how old you were. I was so young. And this has been affecting my life for years. And I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping the middle finger. This has been affecting my life for years. And that's okay. I'm taking a look at it now. Taking another breath. Tapping the underside of the ring finger. So let's go back to that age that you just said. What happened when you were that age that created this belief? And say this belief again. So what happened when you were that age? And if you're not sure, feel free to guess as well. Whatever comes to mind is perfect, whether it feels relevant or not. Tapping the top side of the pinky. When I was, go ahead and say how old you were. This happened. For the next minute, say the story out loud of what may have happened when you were that age. And go. Tapping the side of the hand. Keep talking. And then what happened? Tapping the head. Making sure that you get the back of the skull, at the base, all over the head, at the top of the head, behind the ears. And finishing up your story, tapping the eyebrows. And so, what were you feeling when you were experiencing that as a child? Go ahead and say that emotion out loud. I was feeling, tapping the temples, I was feeling tapping the cheeks. And I'm open to having compassion for myself, taking a deep breath into the body. And 3 more big deep breaths. Open mouth exhales. Open mouth exhales. Big deep breaths. Tapping under the nose. Tapping the chin. Even though I was feeling, and say that emotion again, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tapping all over the chest. Another big deep breath. And let's go through the story again. What was happening? What was happening back then when, at that age? Walk me through the story one more time, out loud. Tapping the front of the ribs. And then what happened? And what did you take that to believe? What did you take that to mean? I took that to mean that I could never feel emotions in public again. That if I felt my emotions, then I would be exiled. That mom will never understand me. That anger is unsafe and dangerous. Whatever the story is. What did you take that to mean? Tapping the sides of the ribs. I took that to mean that, go ahead and say that's that new belief that you created as a little kid. That younger version of you. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I took that to mean that, and say it again. And I'm open to loving and accepting myself. I have compassion for myself. I was just a younger version of me. I was just a little kid. I didn't know better. I didn't know that that was how the world worked. And I was still learning. This was really painful. Tapping the side of the thumb. I didn't know what else to do. And I'm open to loving and forgiving myself. So this belief that you took on as that little kid, go ahead and say it one more time. This belief that tapping the index finger and ask yourself, is this still true? Is this actually true? Tapping the middle finger. And if it is, great. And if it's not, okay. I'm open to the possibility that it might be safe to let this go. Tapping the underside of the ring finger. I'm open to the possibility it's safe to release this old belief that's no longer serving me. It might not even be true anymore. And check yourself. Is this still true? Do you have evidence in your life that this isn't true? Around emotions, around who you are, around how you need to behave. Tapping the pinky. This might not be true anymore. And I'm open to the possibility that I can let this old belief go. Big deep breath. And so what would be the opposite of this old belief? So for example, if it's emotions are unsafe, then you might say emotions are safe. It is safe to feel emotions. It is safe to feel my emotions. Tapping the side of the hand, nice fleshy part. And this is in the affirmative. So it's not that emotions are not unsafe. It's that emotions are safe, right? So putting it in the positive. So what is that new belief that's the opposite of your old? I'm open to the possibility of creating a new belief. This new belief that, and go ahead and say your new belief. Tapping the head. I am creating this new belief that, and say it again. I am releasing the old belief that, and go ahead and say that old belief, tapping the eyebrows, that you created as a young kid. Tapping the temples. I am releasing this old belief from my body now. Nodding your head yes, to let it go. Tapping the cheeks. And taking a big deep breath. And another open mouth exhale. Making some sound. Tapping under the nose. There's a part of me that still feels, and go ahead and feel into that. What are you still holding on to? What's still here for you? So is it that mom said something specific, or that it wasn't fair, or it was just too painful, that you still feel sad, maybe you feel angry, whatever it is? Let's go ahead and dive into that. Tapping the chest. There's a part of me that still feels, and what are you still feeling? There's a part of me that still feels, and say that emotion, sad, angry, disappointed, ashamed, guilty, powerless, hopeless, whatever you're feeling right now. Afraid, confused. I'm open to loving and accepting myself with this emotion. Tapping the front of the ribs. This emotion of tapping the sides of the ribs. I feel this emotion. Go ahead and scan your body. Where do you feel this emotion in your body? I feel this emotion in my, go ahead and say that body part. I feel this in my, tapping the inside of the wrist. And I'm open to loving and accepting myself with this remaining emotion in my tapping the side of the thumb. Feel free to switch hands if you'd like. feeling this remaining emotion in my tapping the index finger. And I'm open to the possibility that I can let this go now. Taking 3 big deep breaths into that sensation in your body. Tapping the middle finger. Tapping the underside of the ring finger. One more big deep breath. I accept this remaining emotion in my... It's allowed to be here right now. It's okay. Tapping the pinky. It's possible that I am allowed to feel this way. It's okay that I feel this way. Tapping the side of the hand. I am allowed to feel this way. I understand why I feel this way. And I'm open to having deep compassion for myself with this emotion. Tapping the head. I learned that I wasn't safe. And feel free to change the words for what is true for you here. What did you learn? What did you learn about your emotions, about how to release them, about how to show up? Even though I learned that, let's go ahead and say it one more time. Tapping the temples. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Taking a big deep breath. Tapping the cheeks. I am open to the possibility of releasing this old belief. I'm saying that belief one more time, that lesson that you learned. Tapping under the nose. I am ready to take my power back now. Tapping the chin. And if that's not making sense to you, to translate what that means is that when we have a story around what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do, when tapping the chest, when we feel guilty or ashamed, or we're trying to control ourselves, or we're blaming someone else, we're giving our power away to them because we're giving them the agency over our lives to make a choice. And so we get to choose regardless, right? But if we feel like we need to behave in a certain way, if we feel like that person is hurting us, if it's all their fault, then holding that resentment, that judgment, that anger actually hurts us. Taking a big deep breath. I'm open to the possibility of taking my power back now. It is safe to take my power back from And what are you taking your power back from? Is it from the emotion itself? Is it from your mom, your dad, parent figure, maybe a teacher, sibling? Tapping the front of the ribs. It is safe for me to have my energy back now. I am releasing this old belief that, go ahead and say your old belief again. And I am creating this new belief that, and the opposite of your old belief. Tapping the sides of the ribs. I am creating this new belief now. I'm releasing this old belief that. I'm releasing this old belief from my body, from my bones, from my blood, from my DNA. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I am releasing this old belief now. I am releasing any remaining sadness or grief. Tapping the side of the thumb. I am releasing any remaining anger or shame. I'm releasing any remaining guilt or blame. And I'm open to loving and forgiving myself deeply and completely. I was just a kid. Taking 2 more big deep breaths, tapping the index finger. I am creating this new belief that, and say your new belief. Tapping the middle finger. I am creating this new belief that, and say your new belief again. Tapping the underside of the ring finger. I'm open to the possibility that my emotions could be safe to feel. What if my emotions are actually messages from my body to communicate what is true? Tapping the pinky. What if I am allowed to feel my emotions? I give myself permission to feel my emotions. Tapping the side of the hand. I am allowed to feel emotions. Tapping the head. This is just part of the human experience. As a silly little human, I have emotions just like everyone else. And I am open to the possibility of learning how to work with them. Tapping the eyebrows. I am learning how to work with my emotions. Tapping the temples. It's possible that me feeling doesn't have to be as hard as I thought it did. Tapping the cheeks. I am releasing my emotions right now just through tapping. Tapping under the nose. I'm open to the possibility that my emotions can help to guide me. Tapping the chin. It's possible that my emotions are telling me where I need to have conversations, where things aren't right, where boundaries have been crossed, where there's loss, where there was attachment. Tapping the chest. It's possible that my emotions are trying to point me in the right direction. Tapping the front of the ribs. It's possible that I could actually befriend my emotions. There's a part of me that still feels, and say what you're feeling, ashamed, sad, scared. Tapping the sides of the ribs, maybe angry that you even have them. And that's okay. It's okay that I feel, and go ahead and say that emotion. I'm open to loving and accepting myself with this emotion now. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I'm open to fully accepting myself with this remaining emotion. Tapping the side of the thumb. It's possible that this emotion is simply a sensation in the body. Tapping the index finger. It's possible that no matter what sensation I feel in my body, that I can handle it. Tapping the middle finger. I'm open to the possibility of getting comfortable with my emotions. And so, listen for just a minute here. When it comes to emotions, generally the more that you fight it, the more uncomfortable and painful it is. So, something that I've been playing with, tapping the underside of the ring finger, is seeing how much I can fully accept an emotion. So, since emotions are sensations in the body, it's actually possible to experience a contraction, which is an emotion, right? So some form of contraction, constriction in the body. Tapping the pinky. It's possible to actually accept it and to open to it so that it flows through more quickly. I'm open to the possibility of allowing my sensations and emotions to be there. I'm open to the possibility, tapping the side of the hand, that I don't need to keep fighting my emotions. I'm open to the possibility that my emotions will actually pass much quicker if I stop fighting them. And to give you some context of what this means, this isn't that you're allowing yourself to, say, blow up at your partner, that you're yelling or screaming, that you're just sobbing uncontrollably in the middle of conversation. And that might happen, and that's okay too. But allowing yourself to take the time and the space that you need to feel and to release and to let go and to take care of yourself. And it's a learning process as you go. Tapping the head. I'm open to the possibility of learning how to do this well. I am learning how to feel my emotions in a responsible and respectful way. Tapping the eyebrows. I'm learning that I don't need to hold in my emotions anymore. It's possible that I can let my emotions go. Tapping the temples. I am letting my emotions go. Tapping the cheeks. And I am letting my emotions flow. This gets to be easier and gentler than I could ever imagine. Tapping under the nose. And it's possible that it could maybe even be fun. Tapping the chin. I'm excited to keep learning about myself. Tapping the chest. And this is one way that I get to learn about myself. Emotions get to be easy and gentle. I don't need to fight them anymore. I don't need to resist them. And it's possible that they're showing me the way. Tapping the front of the ribs. I give myself permission to be patient and gentle with myself as I learn. I don't need to push or force anything. Tapping the sides of the ribs. It's possible that this could actually be an enjoyable process. I'm learning to love myself. And I am learning to love my emotions. Big deep breath. Tapping the inside of the wrist. I am learning to love my emotions. And I am learning to love myself. Tapping all over the body. Saying 3 loving things to yourself. So, for example, I am so proud of myself for doing this work today. I did it. I am doing it. I can do it. I am excited to see what's next. I'm feeling my emotions again. And I trust my body. Taking a big deep breath. Feel free to share how that experience was for you in the chat. I would love to hear from you. And for your integration, make sure that you drink plenty of water. Maybe drink some electrolytes if that feels good to your body. And listen to your body on if it wants to keep doing, maybe it has a lot of space and energy to do a lot of things, or if it needs to take a little slow, not pushing anything. Listen to what's true for your energy levels right now. Thank you for diving into EFT with me, and I will see you soon. Have a beautiful day.